Hey, welcome to this week's edition of Riding Shotgun with Tupper. It is Wednesday, September 12th, and they are harvesting corn out here today. I got to be a little careful when we go back here to stay out of the way. The Tupper Trail that works its way around back here is not exactly a super highway, and I got to stay out of the way of the grain trucks if they're bringing it in and out. And I can't tell where let's see, is that his combine there? Yep, he's back there a ways, so I don't know, we'll see. We might bump into him, but you'll probably see evidence where some of the corn came out, a little bit came out yesterday. And in fact, I was riding in a combine yesterday with one of my neighbor farmers, Dwayne Noland, and had a good time riding with Dwayne. And if I was around more today, I'd probably jump in our farmer, Rick White's deal too. There's a couple of trucks and cars back here. You know, it takes a few people to get this going, and running these one running his hopper that collects the corn as he spits it out when his combine gets full, and then people driving his grain trucks into the elevator and unloading those and getting back and getting more. And so anyhow, Illinois football 2-0, that's good, but I did not think very impressive against Western Illinois. We already covered the Kent State game. These slow starts are just bothersome because they move up in weight class considerably now, and then the other thing is just so many missing pieces. You know, these suspensions, which we knew were annoying, are really annoying because it appears they'll go on for at least 3 games, and involves good players, people they need, particularly in the secondary, but also at wide receiver. The secondary is now really thin. Wide receiver has become thin. We know about the loss of Mikey Dudek, and then this last week they got the terrific game from the freshman Edwin Carter, who caught touchdown passes his first 2 catches after MJ Rivers replaced AJ Bush, who I thought he hurt his ankle. Lovey on Monday said hamstring, but regardless, on his second touchdown catch, Edwin Carter just looked like he had his knee blown up. And worse than that, I mean, it looked to me like the way he landed on his head and torqued his neck, I mean, that looked like I could hardly watch the thing, and you fear the worst for the kid. And apparently that part of it was okay. I mean, I think we're lucky that we're only talking about a knee. In fact, when I was talking to Rod Smith on Monday, I went over to Lovey's luncheon. He said Edwin Carter in the end zone was kind of joking about it. Hey, I caught the ball, I hung on to the ball, which was a miracle, by the way, that he hung on to the football. Just amazing that happened, because I mean, I can't even imagine having the wherewithal to do that, but he was kind of joking and laughing, although he said, I think there's something wrong with my knee. Yeah, season ending, that's just a shame. But Ricky Smalling, you know, was out. That was kind of unexpected. Now, he's supposed to be back this week, or at least we believe. But when you look at the wide receiver position, it's, you know, Sam Mays has stepped up a little bit, but they need to hear from Dominic Stampley, who was so impressive in training camp, and Justice Williams, who made plays in training camp, caught the eyes of pro scouts, dropped one the other night. They need him. They've got Trenard Davis. They've got Carlos Sandy. They've got Caleb Reams. You know, I mean, it's just somebody's going to have to step up there. And, you know, one guy they could use is Carmoni Green. He's out. Lewis Dorsey, the terrific tight end who can also play some at wide receiver. I mean, he's just so versatile and big. He's been suspended. So, I mean, all of that is bothersome. Rod Smith has a history with South Florida. He was there from 2001 to 2006. And you know, he knows this school. And if you watch their game against Georgia Tech, you know, you saw their quarterback Blake Barnett, who was a kid that was the #1 ranked pocket passer in the country coming out of high school in California. Who signs a guy like that? Nick Saban signs a guy like that. So he started out at Alabama. He has come to South Florida after a stint at Arizona State, and he's a talented guy. I'm not saying he doesn't have some flaws, but he's really good. And then the guy that blew everybody's mind, if you watch the game, was this freshman kick returner, Terrence Horn, who returned 2 kicks for 98 yards. Wow, Rick's got a lot of corn out today. 2 kicks for 98 yards, and I mean, he's just so dangerous. You cannot kick the ball to that kid. So we'll see what goes on there. But they're faster, better, and bigger than either of Illinois' first 2 opponents. And Illinois kind of struggled around to get traction in those games. So they need to get off to a better start, okay? And this game, of course, 2:30 Central Time up at the United Center in Chicago. I hope they get a crowd. I mean, I know they won't sell the place out, but I hope that some people will come out. It sounds like the weather is favorable. You know, I've covered those games up. I've covered, what, 3 games up there, at least 4, over the years, going back to that Washington State game, and that's not been a happy place for Illinois to play. 2 Washington State games, now that I think about it. And so we will see how they do up there. I mean, this would be a big upset in my mind for Illinois to win this game. I think they're 9.5-point underdogs in this game. And I thought MJ Rivers, by the way, did a nice job when he came in, not expecting to get his number called, not knowing he would get his number called, and getting it done. I thought did a nice job. So congrats to him. And there's Rick coming down here doing some corn. He'll wonder what the heck is he doing back here. Does he want to go for a ride in the combine? Which I do, but it's not what I'm looking for. I'm just back here riding shotgun, and maybe you guys will see Rick as we go by. I'm going to roll down my window and wave to him here just to say hi. And I don't know, I might just drive all the way through. Let's see what you can. We got to get up a ways for y'all to see Rick and combining this corn out of here right now. Man, it looks good. When I was in the combine yesterday, they were running 250 bushels an acre, and that's pretty good. And we had so much rain over the weekend, I didn't think they'd be able to get back in the field so quickly, but they did, and that's cool. Well, I'm looking at my camera here to see whether Rick pops into view as we move up here a little further. He will, I think. At any rate, Illinois basketball news that E.J. Liddell is moving up his visit to the 21st, which means he'll be in there with Oscar Tshiebwe, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing the Big O's name right. Pardon me if I'm not. A big man, and also Terrence Shannon. So that's a big weekend. That's the Penn State football game weekend. That's 3 top recruits. I mean, the program changes if those guys all of a sudden show up and commit. I mean that's a dreamy scenario, and I think most of the prognosticators are not projecting that as happening. But nevertheless, that becomes a big weekend for Illini basketball. And Brad, of course, recovering from his knee surgery and so forth and so on. I've got to get some feelers out. In fact, I've got them out right now to try to find a date when Brad's going to come over to Decatur and do our radio show, which is a tradition that goes back almost 30 years to Lou Henson, and every coach since has come over and done a nice little stint with us, and a 2-hour radio show in which the coach usually brings one of his assistants or something like that, and we get to have a live audience of about 300 and take questions and so forth and so on, so I'll let you know when that is. If any of you are in the area and want to come over, I'll tell you how you can get tickets. You've got to get them through radio station WSOY, and they're not for sale, so you just got to get one through the radio station. There's a couple ways to do that, and we're a little premature to even talk about getting tickets yet. So there's Rick right now. What if I turn this way for you guys to see Rick out there combining? I hope. He looks like he's getting her done. I'll pop this back up here. All right, my friends, thank you very much Watch that game Saturday, 2:30, Big Ten Network. I mean, I'm not optimistic. I'll be very honest with you. I think A.J. Bush is going to play and start at quarterback. I think Ricky Smalling's going to be back. But I also think that some of the people that they really need, because this is a team that can't afford to be shorthanded, are going to continue to be out, some because of suspension, some because of injuries. Hope to get a couple injured players back. Hey, funny things happen. Maybe something can happen. Special teams really helped them against Western Illinois. I'll say that. And they need special teams right now. They need everything right now to go into place in order to pull off this upset. Maybe the one thing is that South Florida's defense looked a little vulnerable against Georgia Tech, so maybe we could get something going there. But thanks, guys. Appreciate it a lot. Pardon my infatuation with the harvest, but it's kind of a cool thing around here, and hope you got to glimpse a touch of it anyhow. We'll talk to you next week. Good night, everybody.